$100 million. The other guy took $100 million of Woosung's money so far. Woosung admitted that he was going against a very smart guy. Alex, how much of our money is in so far? About 80%. So $4.8 billion out of $6 billion were in the market. Woosung studied the monitors with an unwavering focus. It has been a week of tense trading. He purposely let the other guy win $100 million of his money as bait. Tomorrow was the D-Day. Tomorrow, he would take everything back and much more. It's now. After checking the chart, Woosung clicked fast. Buy. 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 This time, Woosung took a short position. As he expected, the other guy followed him immediately. But you don't know that I know what you're doing. Woosung looked at the clock. The market closed at 5 p.m. After that time, all trading halted. Tick-tock. Woosung stared tensely. A difference of a second could change everything. A drop of sweat started to roll down Woosung's forehead. Alex also stared nervously. Less than a minute was left till the closing. Alex murmured. Boss. Only 40 seconds left. Could the market process $1 billion that fast? Alex looked at Woosung worriedly. He was sweating heavily. Click. Finally, Woosung clicked quickly to sell. At the same time, he took a long position. Crude oil future price $72. Time, 16 hours 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Everything was processed with 2 seconds left before the closing. After 2 seconds, the screen beeped to announce that the market had closed. Alex sighed deeply. Phew, boss. I thought my heart would stop. Woosung felt the same way. He grabbed a cup of iced water on the desk and drank it in one gulp. Now we just have to wait for the news. Alex looked at the calendar and asked, we will know by tonight, right? Woosung nodded gravely. Unless an unexpected event happened, he would win this one again. Liam cried out and stood up quickly. What the? The others in the room reacted the same way. See, could it be? This week, they made $100 million. Following Woosung's last move, they vetted $700 million. However, at the last minute, Woosung changed his move with 2 seconds left till the closing. There was no time for them to follow him. Liam turned to Harry and asked, news? Check the news. Harry quickly searched any news report on crude oil. He looked for a few minutes and found nothing. Harry sighed deeply and sat down. Nothing. I checked everything. However, Liam bit his nail and replied nervously, damn it. Could it be that he found out what we are doing? We have been using 10 different serial numbers. Besides, you said it wasn't a big company like JP or Citadel. Liam, be more confident. Liam bit his lips. Harry was right, but Harry also wasn't the head of this project. Liam was. He was responsible for everything. If he failed. Mason smiled bitterly. Well, the market is closed, so there is nothing we can do anyway. Liam stared at the screen. He had a bad feeling about this. Woosung and Alex went to a roof bar. It was a VIP place where a bottle started at $1,000. It was on the 30th floor. Alex asked, boss, how do you feel? You will be getting $10 billion tomorrow. Woosung took a sip of 30-year-old Macallan and replied, it's not enough. Huh, I knew you would say that. Remember what you told me when we first met? I said we will earn $1 trillion together. You will become a billionaire. At first, I thought you were crazy, but here we are now. It's too early to celebrate. We are just starting. Boss, you are incorrigible. I wasn't kidding about the $1 trillion. Huh, I know. I know it very well now. I made a lot of money thanks to you. I earned over $10 million. After tomorrow, I will probably get another $10 million in incentive. Then you only have $980 million to go. Alex laughed. After another sip, Woosung searched online again using his phone. Alex asked, "Are you waiting for the news?" Woosung nodded. It had to happen tonight. Alex lowered his voice and asked again, "And whatever it is, it will cause the price to go up to $80. Woosung nodded again. Alex drank his whiskey and looked outside. I used to wonder if I could own anything in New York. A small apartment costs millions of dollars. I doubted I could make that much money. Woosung listened and Alex continued, "But now, thanks to you, I believe I could even buy the whole street. If you stay with me, it will happen for you." Alex nodded. Suddenly, someone yelled from the VIP entrance. "Here. Alex, it's me." A voluptuous blonde beauty waved at Alex. When Woosung looked at him in confusion, Alex answered her. "Oh, Julia." "Yeah, it's me, Julia White. You know me." The bodyguards looked at Woosung for an approval. Alex looked at him as well. Woosung ordered, "If it's your friend, let her in. We are done for the day anyway." "Huh, okay." Alex walked towards Julia and brought her to the table. Alex asked her, "It has been a while. The last time was at the reunion, right?" Julia smiled. "Huh, that's right. Now, who is this gentleman?" "This is my boss." "Boss, this is Julia. We were classmates in college." Woosung stood up and shook her hand. "Nice to meet you. I'm Kang Woosung. Julia White. I work at J.P. Morgan. I read your recent paper." Woosung answered calmly, "I see." Julia rubbed his hand flirtatiously. "Yes. It looked like you put a lot of work into it." Alex asked, "Coconut stock listing?" Julia nodded. "Yes, I saw the paperwork." Julia asked in a pretty tone, "Can I join you?" She sat down across from Woosung. "Oh, please have a seat." Julia said to Woosung, "You are famous. People are saying you will be the next Zuckerberg. The entire Wall Street is interested in your coconut. It is performing better than Facebook did at the beginning." Woosung replied, "Thank you for the compliment, but J.P. Morgan won't be chosen to represent my company. The decision will be based on my lawyers, accountants, and the consultants. But you will be the one who makes the final decision." Julia then raised her glass. Woosung and Alex did as well and took a sip. Suddenly, Julia's phone beeped. "Excuse me." She looked at her iPhone quickly. OPEC decides to cut oil production. For more details, click the below link. Julia frowned. Something was happening. Alex looked at Woosung excitedly, who was already looking at his phone. He quickly looked up and nodded to Alex. "Boss." Woosung calmly took another sip of his drink. A bottle cost him $1,800. However, it was nothing. Tomorrow, his bank account would receive over $10 billion. Alex grinned widely. Julia asked, "What just happened?" Alex laughed, "Ha ha ha. It's nothing important." Julia became even more curious. The Alex whom Julia knew was always quiet with, showing emotions rarely. Woosung was reacting the same way. He was smiling mysteriously. Julia asked again, "Could you please tell me what is going on?" Woosung answered firmly, "It's nothing you need to know." She turned to Alex, but he looked away. If Woosung wanted to keep this event quiet, Alex had to do the same. Julia smiled at Woosung charmingly, but it was no use. Woosung wasn't looking at her. He was staring at his phone. OPEC decides to reduce oil production. Per Venezuela's request, OPEC has decided to reduce crude oil production. The price is expected to increase, which will negatively impact the economy. It was exactly how Woosung remembered it happening in his past life. It's done. With $4 billion, he earned $14 billion. With the coconut stocks, he had over $20 billion at his disposal. There was nothing he couldn't do now. Julia approached Woosung and asked flirtatiously, "You must have accomplished something big just now. The OPEC news came out, which means the oil price will go up. I assume you bet on it?" Woosung picked up his glass. "You are very curious. And will you answer my question? If I give it to you, what kind of information will you give me in return?" JP wants to have a good relationship with Coconut. Isn't that enough? Woosung pointed at Alex. I share important information only with my people. Technically, this is considered a business secret. Besides, I don't understand why you are so curious. Do famous hedge fund managers often go around bragging about their wins? Julia couldn't answer. After taking another sip, Alex nodded and turned to Julia. Julia, how's working at JP? It's not bad. What was your definition of a good job? A job that makes me a lot of money. Haha, that's right. Do you still feel the same way? Of course. Wall Street is a cruelly competitive place. I accept it with open arms. At Julia's boldness, Woosung grinned. Julia turned to Woosung and continued, "Of course, I'm not saying money is everything. It is also not the most important thing about my career, but it is for my job." Woosung continued to drink slowly. Alex pointed at Julia and asked Woosung, "Boss, didn't you say you were looking for a financial expert? How about her? She may not look it, but she is one of the tops in JP. As she just said, if you pay her enough, she is willing to work for you." Julia pointed at herself. Me? As you know, Coconut Bank started as an internet bank exclusively in Korea, but Woosung has a bigger plan for it. He wants to reach the world. I think this will be a good job for you. Woosung turned to Julia and asked, "If Alex recommends you, that is enough for me. I will give you 1.5 times your current salary plus incentives." Pardon? I don't know how much you are getting paid right now, but I will pay you more. You will learn quickly that I am not stingy when it comes to incentives. I don't understand what is happening. Alex added. You will be shocked if you know how much incentives I received. Woosung felt himself getting drunk. He had to work tomorrow, so he stood up. Stay as long as you want and chat. I will see you later. Alex nodded. All right. Julia looked at Woosung in confusion, but he was already walking away. 9:30 a.m., New York. The market was about to open. Liam stared at the screen anxiously. He didn't want to come to work after reading last night's news. He was afraid. However, as usual, he had to finish his job. He felt thirsty. WTI crude oil was already reaching $81. It was due to the announcement from OPEC last night. How could he know about it before it was announced? Does he have a connection in OPEC? He had heard of a rumor about the infamous Rothschild family. It was rumored that this family secretly ruled the world. If anyone could, this family was the one that probably could get information from OPEC before it was announced to the public. Damn it. He was going crazy. He tried to shake it off, but it was useless. As soon as the market opened, he settled everything. It meant that he was settling his short position. Yesterday, he followed Woosung's initial bet on the crude oil price going down. However, the price went up. Woosung changed his position at the last minute. Liam clicked a few more times to settle everything. The crude oil price continued to soar. He started to pant. Minus $380 million. It was over for Liam. $13.331 billion. It was Woosung's final account balance. All in cash. Woosung quickly transferred $10 million to Alex's account as a bonus. Alex swallowed hard and murmured, "So this project is finally over." Woosung nodded. I expect to have a few more opportunities like this in the future. Let's make sure to work well like this again. Of course. What did Julia say last night? She said she needs to think about it. She said our company is a bit too small for her liking, and Coconut hasn't been approved by SEC yet. Woosung applied to have Coconut to be listed in the market. All the required paperwork was done. It just had to be approved by SEC, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, for it to be listed on NASDAQ. Are you sure about her? Alex nodded. She was the best in school. There was a rumor that she got her grades by sleeping with the profs, but it was never proven. Woosung remembered her being flirtatious. She was gorgeous. He could see why there would have been such a rumor. Other than those rumors, her record was perfect. She got her job at JP with great references from the professors, and she is currently a director at the company. Director. She was only 27. Woosung was surprised she reached such a high position at a young age. Arrange a dinner meeting tomorrow with her. I have to go to the SEC interview now. All right. To be listed on NASDAQ, the final step was to attend an interview conducted by the SEC officials. When Woosung sat down, one of the judges, Charles Brown, asked, "We read your report. You did a good job growing your company. I think it is comparable to Facebook and Twitter." Thank you. But you have set your share price to be $40, which make your company worth $80 billion. It was a huge number. Charles Brown asked curiously, "Don't you think you've overestimated your company? If you look at the rate of user number increase, you will see that it is faster than that of Facebook. In addition, MAU and DAU are comparable to Facebook. But the sales are only half of that of Facebook. The number of users is much less than Facebook, but the sales have reached already half that of Facebook. My company's profit rate is actually better." Woosung had good answers for every question. The Q&A session lasted a long time. Woosung answered smartly to every question and the SEC officials nodded in satisfaction. After 30 minutes, Charles Brown turned to his colleagues and asked, "Do you have any more questions for this gentleman?" They all shook their heads. Charles turned to Woosung. "We're done then. You may go." Woosung nodded and left the room. When he left the building, he saw Julia White waiting for him. She was smiling brightly, surrounded by men in expensive suits. They started to approach Woosung slowly. However, Woosung was quickly surrounded by his bodyguards. Woosung ordered, "It's fine." The bodyguards moved aside slightly so Julia could approach Woosung. "As I've said, everyone is interested in Coconut." One of the men in suits asked Woosung, "I am Morgan Stanley's Patrick Emile. I would like to talk to you in private." Another person shouted as well, "Hello. I'm from Citigroup." Men from big companies fought to get Woosung's attention. Julia looked around and murmured, "This is America, the land of capitalism. By the way, Alex said you had an offer for me." Woosung nodded. Julia said to him, "Shall we go then?" They arrived at the Four Seasons top-floor suite room. It cost $30,000 per night. Woosung asked for room service of snacks while Julia looked around the room. "You really are a billionaire." "Yes. But it's surprising. I don't see any evidence of drinking or women." "We're not here to talk about my private life." Julia nodded. The room service arrived quickly. Woosung took a sip of his iced coffee and asked, "Alex must have told you about the offer. Did you have other questions? Is it true you want to make Coconut Pay into an international service like PayPal?" "Yes. I want to make it even bigger than PayPal. I also heard a rumor you are behind the Let Pay in China. I can't confirm that at this point. What do you plan to do with the money you make by listing Coconut?" "Invest. I plan on investing in a business I have been working on." Woosung took another sip. He continued, "I feel like I am being interviewed. To win a genius like me, it's the least you can do. I realize there aren't many who graduated from MIT and work as a director at JP Morgan. However, the position you will take in my company is a bigger job than you have right now. You haven't proven yourself for this particular position yet. I believe in Alex's recommendation, but you will need to prove yourself to me too. Woosung continued quickly, you will get the job whether you pass the test or not, but your salary will change based on your performance. So you will decrease your salary offer if I fail the test. No, my offer still stands, but if you pass, I will offer you even more money. Can you explain it to me? Currently, coconut has been assessed as worth $80 billion. Everyone agrees with the assessment, but I don't like it. Julia nodded. Woosung drank his coffee and continued. I want it to be listed at the same value as Facebook or better. If you can achieve that, I will give you some coconut stock shares. How much? $10 million worth. Pardon? I will give you $10 million worth of shares. If you prefer, I will give you $10 million in cash. $10 million. Her current salary was $200,000 a year. After various taxes, fees, and paying off monthly tuition loan, she was left with $5,000 every month. It was a lot of money, but it was still not enough for her. $10 million. With it, she could pay back all her debt, buy a house in New York, and anything she wanted. It's a good offer. If you fail, the job offer still stands with the same conditions. If you get this job done, you will get $10 million on top of it. What do you think? Julia smiled and shook his hand. Deal. Woosung murmured, by the way, can I ask you to dress a little more conservatively? Woosung wouldn't want to say anything, but he felt like it was necessary. Julia was wearing a skirt so short whenever she moved in the chair, it showed too much. The top 3 buttons of her blouse were also undone. Her bra was showing quite obviously. But why? I dressed like this to seduce you, and I got the job so it worked. No. You got the job because of your skills. Well, that's what you say, but I will never know, will I? This has worked very well for me for the remainder of my life. Do you know the glass ceiling index for America? Woosung shook his head. He expected it to be okay considering this was America. It is worse than the OECD average. Korea is even worse, by the way. The way I dress and act is how I learned to survive this male-dominated world. If you are saying I don't have to do this anymore, then that would be great. When Woosung nodded, Julia stood up. Then I better get to work. At an expensive bar in New York, Manhattan. Liam, who was drunk, murmured, damn it. I made them so much money, yet this is how they reply to me. I know I made a mistake, but still. He felt betrayed. It was hard leaving his work. Liam poured another drink. He couldn't stand the situation. Suddenly, Woosung sat beside him and ordered the same drink. He murmured, Williams Liam. Ryan Capital head manager, but you recently lost your job. What? Who are you? I am the one behind the serial number XXXXXX. Liam froze. He turned around quickly. What? KND Investment CEO and the one who won our little game. Liam raised his hand and ordered, ice water please. The bartender brought him the water and Liam gulped it down. He then turned to Woosung again. Can you repeat that again? If you are interested, follow me. Liam followed. Woosung took Liam to his hotel room and asked, answer my question without a calculator. You have 5 seconds. 321 by 411. 131931. Liam was still drunk, but his answer was immediate and confident. 35, 2. 1225. 34412/23. 4. It didn't even take a second for each answer. Woosung was surprised. He pointed at the whiteboard he prepared and asked, solve the Black-Scholes equation. Liam wrote out the equation quickly. It was over 10 lines, yet he finished it quickly. He was clearly a mathematical genius. Why would you drink yourself to death when you have such an amazing brain? How did you know I was following your transactions? Woosung pointed at his head. You are not the only smart one in this town. And that is why you tricked me at the last minute. Huh, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Liam panted. There was nothing he could say. Woosung continued, I heard you lost your job. Thanks to you. I think you're great. Your ambition, skills, and boldness. If you think you can control your pride, I am willing to offer you a good deal. What do you think? I have one question. Did you get the information from someone in OPEC? How is it that you knew? I will tell you when we have a more trustful relationship. After brief thinking, Liam nodded. Woosung added, I will first have you work on the algorithm trading tuning. I will give you more details tomorrow. Woosung made a quick call and his bodyguard walked in. Woosung ordered him to drive Liam home safely. Julia visited Woosung early in the morning. Jeans and a white t-shirt. She looked young and fresh like a college student. Did you quit JP Morgan? Haha, not yet. I told them I could win Coconut as a customer for JP and they said I am free from my regular duties for now. So technically, I am working right now. Woosung nodded. Julia waved a USB at him. I've got something for you. Julia's plan was simple. The numbers on the financial report could not be changed, but why not visit the investors and do a presentation for them? They needed to make a point. Great needs increase the company value. Woosung didn't look satisfied. What do you think, boss? Julia, I don't like to beg. There are times when you have to give up your pride. That is why I need to do a presentation for the institutional investors. Yes. I have a different opinion. You can't earn the scarcity value by begging. Julia frowned. Woosung continued, you need to attract the investors so they choose to come to you without you begging. Julia sighed. I have considered that method, but does Coconut really have that kind of influence? As of now, I don't think so. Investors are conservative. $80 billion is fair, if not an overestimation. There are many who believe that Coconut is just a bubble that will burst soon. Julia continued quickly. And there is a common mistake most young businessmen make. Do you know what it is? Pride, conceit, arrogance, and so on. Julia nodded. You know it very well. But that is only if you aren't good at your job. Julia raised her eyebrows. Do you think you know everything just because of your success with Let Chat and smartphone? If I thought you are such an arrogant person, I wouldn't have said yes to your offer. You missed KND Investment, DNK Group, League of Legend, and Battle Round. Julia looked surprised. She has heard of these companies before. Woosung asked, you wanted to know what happened a few nights ago, right? Julia nodded. Woosung continued, Alex and I were talking about our most recent investment result. We just made about $1 billion, so we were celebrating. Woosung stared at Julia and asked, do you still think I'm being arrogant for no reason? I am telling you, Coconut will be bigger than Facebook because... Woosung paused. Julia bit her lips. He looked so attractive as he talked with natural confidence. Alpha male. He was a capable man. Woosung continued, because I will make it happen. So bring me a solution to this problem. Come up with a plan that will make the investors beg me to get involved. For example, wouldn't it be great if Rick Warren invested in our company? Rick Warren. He was one of the most successful investors in the world. Julia replied, he is famous for not investing in tech companies. Do you not know that he bought a lot of Apple stocks? But that. Rick Warren was just an example, but if you can accomplish it then that would be amazing. Julia bit her lips again. This was becoming more complicated than she anticipated. $5 million. Woosung paid $5 million to have lunch with Rick Warren. They were to meet at the Smith and Walensky in New York. Woosung prepared a few questions to ask Rick Warren. He waited at the table. Rick Warren arrived 5 minutes before the meeting time. He was a white-haired gentleman. When Rick saw Woosung, he greeted, "I have done some research on you, but I still can't believe how young you are. I was never that successful when I was your age." Woosung replied sincerely, I have just been very lucky." "Well, I am curious what kind of questions you have for me." They sat down and looked at the menu. Woosung asked, "I am planning to list my company, Coconut. It has been assessed to be worth $80 billion, but I think that is an underestimation. Facebook is worth $100 billion and I don't think my company should be assessed less than that. So what could I do to have its value increased?" Rick Warren took a sip of water and replied, "Even with such a big number as $80 billion, you are still not satisfied." Woosung nodded. "My ambition is much bigger than that. If I invested in your company, it will become worth over $100 billion, and that is probably why you paid $5 million to have lunch with me." "That's right. If I can make $20 billion with only $5 million, it's a no-brainer." I have always been interested in KND. I do believe that it is comparable to Apple. Coconut will become bigger than Facebook, Google, and Amazon. I know you usually aren't interested in software companies, but wouldn't you be interested in, perhaps, holding it for a short term? How short of a term are you talking about? 10 years. Rick Warren took another sip of water and looked at Woosung with interest. "I have never heard anyone answer 10 years before. You must have only met amateur investors then." Rick Warren laughed and continued to eat his salad. "What will you do if I refuse your offer?" "It doesn't matter. If I release the news about another project Coconut is planning, the stock price will jump anyway." Woosung was referring to the AI project. "Then why are you asking me to do this?" "Because I believe that certain people should make money while others shouldn't." "Pardon?" "There are people who deserve lots of money and people who shouldn't have money. I don't like my money going to the wrong hands." Rick Warren stopped chewing and looked at Woosung. This conversation was becoming very strange. "So you're saying I deserve to have big money?" "That's right. Someone like you should have it." In his previous life, Woosung read that Rick Warren donated 90% of his wealth and lived modestly. Woosung took out his blue S2 and showed it to Rick. "Have a look at this." Woosung showed him the improved version of the AI. The new system was able to carry a conversation. "What should I have for dinner? Steak, rice, or sandwich?" "I don't want steak." "Then what about a sandwich?" "But I'm on a diet." "How about a Subway? How many calories does it have?" 580 "Oh, that's not bad. Should I order then?" Would you believe me if I said this was a conversation between a person and a computer? Rick Warren's eyes sharpened. If this was true, Coconut's worth would rise exponentially. Woosung continued, "This is our newest technology. Google and Facebook don't have it yet. It sounds like there should be plenty of people who would want to invest in your company. As I explained, I believe that only certain people should earn big money." Rick Warren continued to eat and looked at Woosung. After a few days, a news report was announced that Rick Warren's Buffalo Hathaway invested in Coconut. As soon as she heard the news, Julia came to Woosung. "My $10 million. If you had come up with the idea of having lunch with Rick Warren, that would have been great. But make sure to think more creatively next time." Julia frowned while Alex grinned. Woosung turned to Alex and Julia. "As you saw on the news, Rick Warren has decided to invest in our company. Not Facebook, but for us." Julia murmured, "So it will definitely be worth over $100 billion. Probably. Alex turned to Woosung. That's a huge number. You will be so loaded. Not as much as you think. I will only sell about 30% of the shares to make sure I have control over the company, and I need this money to make an investment. When Alex nodded, Woosung continued, please supervise Liam on the algorithm trading tuning. In the corner of the hotel room was Liam focusing on his computer. How much are you thinking to invest? I will start with $100 million and increase the budget as I go. I already told Liam about it too. Alright. I think he is working very hard, so keep an eye on him. Woosung turned to Julia. SEC will call us by the end of the day. Please get ready for the listing and come up with ideas for Coconut Pay and Coconut Bank for the future. Julia complained, I haven't even read over the comprehensive report on the current company situation yet. You better work fast. My expectations are very high. Gosh, why did I agree to work for you? I didn't even get the bonus. Woosung grinned and replied, if the listing process goes smoothly, you will get a handsome incentive, so don't be so disappointed. Really? Woosung nodded. After the meeting, Woosung and Alex flew to Silicon Valley. They visited the developers who were working on the Blue S3 and announced a bonus for everyone. Afterward, they visited the other companies Woosung invested in. Insta. Ardent. Ever. SpaceX. Woosung invested a lot of money on these companies. He knew they would be very successful in the future. 1 week later. Boss, the listing process is complete. It will be listed next Tuesday. Woosung smiled at Alex's report. It was going according to his plan. Woosung remembered an invitation suddenly. Tonight 6 p.m. Palo Alto 2101 party. Alex got excited. Boss, you must go. It is a very famous party in Silicon Valley. It is a good chance for you to network with important and influential businessmen. More influential than Rick Warren. No, but it will still be helpful. I guess. And the more networking you do, the better chance you have of finding good people to scout. Woosung narrowed his eyes. Be honest. You just want to meet famous celebs, right? Alex grinned. If it happens, then that would be a bonus. Party. Silicon Valley was famous for luxurious parties organized by successful businessmen. Many celebs and rich people attended these events. Alright, let's go. Great. They arrived at the party early. It was at a lavish mansion. They had to drive a few minutes after passing the main gate. Inside were a swimming pool, tennis court, and a 3-story building. The place was surrounded by bodyguards and everyone was checked before letting in. This is huge. I guess. The pool was crowded with beautiful women in bikinis. Music was playing loudly. You can go in. They walked in after the security checked their invitations. Wow, KYLO meeting is so small compared to this. The party host David Gallagher, a famous investor, approached them. You made it. Thank you for the invitation. It's a great party. I hope you have fun. Oh, and take this. David handed Woosung a key card and whispered, it is the key to the private building on the right. It has been prepared for only the special guests. Woosung nodded. Thank you. Have a great time. After David left, Alex exclaimed, Boss, did you see? That's Grant Griffin. Oh, there is Dana Loren. I've gotta go over there. Let me know when you are ready to leave. Alright. Alex quickly disappeared to mingle. Woosung took a glass and walked around. He wondered what David prepared at the private building. He could guess what it was, but he was still curious. I'm probably wrong. Let's go find out. Tight security personnel was guarding the door. It looked like something secretive was happening inside. Woosung approached the door and scanned the card. Beep. The door opened. When Woosung entered, he felt dreamy. Inside was filled with smoke. Men were sitting down smoking different pipes. Woosung was right. Gorgeous women were everywhere in the room. They flocked to different men. The place looked like an expensive brothel. Suddenly, Woosung noticed one woman. Jennifer Ellie. He rubbed his eyes and checked again. It was really her, an actress he saw in a popular movie in his previous life. I did see a couple of big-time movie producers, so I guess. He walked towards her slowly. Jennifer bit her lips. When he offered his hand, she took it with a resigned expression. They went into an empty room. As soon as the door closed, Jennifer tried to kiss Woosung, who quickly stepped back. Wait. Jennifer placed her finger on Woosung's lip. Shoo. You don't have to worry about anything. She acted boldly, but her eyes looked sad. Woosung stepped back again and asked, "Are you really Jennifer Ellie?" Her eyes widened. Woosung continued. "I am Kang Woosung. I am the CEO of NK Entertainment. I would like to scout you." "Pardon?" She looked confused. Woosung explained, "I am telling you that I would like to be your agency." "Are you serious?" "Several men have offered the same thing to me before, but as soon as I slept with them, they left me. I had to sleep with famous producers and directors. They all promised to make me into a star, but here I am." "But you haven't given up becoming an actress." "How do you know?" "I just do." In Woosung's last life, Jennifer Ellie was one of the top actresses in Hollywood. He continued. "NK will be investing in a movie in Hollywood very soon. It will be easier for you then to get a role." Jennifer sighed and asked doubtfully, "You are offering me this without asking for anything in return?" When Woosung nodded, Jennifer placed her hand on his belt. "Why don't we just have SE*? I don't need your words." Before Woosung could react, she took his belt off. "What are you doing?" She started to take his clothes off skillfully. Woosung grabbed her hands quickly. "Stop." Jennifer smiled and replied, "But I think your body is saying yes." Woosung looked down and started to sweat. "I can't help how my body reacts." He put his pants back on and buttoned his shirt. Jennifer said disappointedly, "Gosh, I was hoping for a fun night." Woosung took out his business card and handed it to her. It was the one Jang Guangchul gave him as a gift. The 24K gold shined on the card. "You don't have to do this. I would like to give you a fair chance. Call this number and you'll learn that I'm not lying." Jennifer looked at the card in surprise. "Is this real gold?" When Woosung nodded, her eyes widened. She was adorable. Woosung added. "Well, that's it for me. I hope we get to work together." Woosung left the place quickly. If he stayed too long, he was afraid he would be involved in an unsavory scandal. Woosung called Alex. "Already?" Alex sounded disappointed, but he came to Woosung. Alex asked when he saw that Woosung seemed red and out of breath. "What happened? Why are you panting?" "It's nothing important. We should never attend parties like this again." "Why?" "I love it. Beautiful and successful men and women in one place. I already promised to go to another party tomorrow. When I mentioned your name, they were all busy inviting me to different events." Woosung shook his head. Alex continued, "You are famous here in Silicon Valley. Many people want to invest in Coconut and Blue S2. Some were even begging me to introduce you to them. Well, it was a close one for me." Alex narrowed his eyes. "Boss, did you?" Alex seemed to guess what had happened. The wildness of these parties was already well known to the public. "It's not like that." Alex didn't believe him. "Hello. I am reporter Kim Minjun from YTT News. I am at the Nasdaq headquarters where the Korean company Coconut is about to be listed. It has been assessed at $80 billion, which is the very first for a Korean corporation. The reporter continued excitedly, Coconut was recently invested by the world-famous Rick Warren. Everyone is curious about how Coconut stock will fare. Many experts believe it will go beyond Facebook. In a little while, there will also be an event titled Hello Coconut in Korea to celebrate its success. It is rumored that new technology will be introduced at this event. It was a huge deal in Korea. Woosung could now be worth more than Korea's biggest company Daeyoung. The reporter continued. Oh, Kang Woosung and the officials are entering. We will now listen to the interview. Woosung explained to the reporter, Korea doesn't have a proper evaluation standard for IT technology yet. So are you saying you may move your headquarters to America? Anything is possible. That is how I do all my businesses. I try to always keep an open mind. What do you expect will happen once Coconut is listed? I expect it to soar very quickly. It was finally 9:30 a.m. in New York. The opening bell rang, and people congratulated Woosung. Congratulations. Cheers. Congratulations. Everyone clapped while Woosung smiled proudly. Shin Semi bit her lips as she watched the news. Listed in Nasdaq. He is now worth over $90 billion. Woosung was now officially superior to Nuri. It was most likely that Woosung was the richest and most successful businessman in Korea. He was beyond her reach now. A woman was standing beside Woosung on the TV with a big smile. Shin Semi was bothered by the whole situation. She turned off the TV in a fit of anger. Daeyoung Electronics headquarters in Gangnam. In Choi Gun-won's office on the 44th floor, Choi Gun-won and Choi Tae-min were watching TV together. CEO Kang Woosung will now speak. Choi Gun-won asked suddenly, why is everyone making such a big deal? Money. That's right, and that is why the media is treating Daeyoung with disrespect because we don't have as much money. Choi Gun-won watched Woosung on TV for a few seconds. People care about what that guy says because he is rich. We used to be where he is until recently. He then glared at Choi Tae-min who remained quiet. Choi Gun-won asked, are you someone who makes money for Daeyoung Electronics, or are you someone who just spends the company money? Choi Tae-min answered calmly, the first. Then why do I hear that MC business is failing? That's an exaggerated rumor. The next model will beat Blue S. Besides, the semiconductor department is doing very well, so Daeyoung Electronics should be fine. You still failed. Choi Tae-won frowned. As they glared at each other, Woosung's interview was still continuing on TV. Coconut will grow big quickly. Most of the profit will be reinvested into the AI project named Coconut I. Coconut possess an exclusive AI technology. People didn't react to Woosung's announcement. They thought he was just talking about his future plan. Woosung continued, our project will be revealed at the Hello Coconut event in Seoul. Woosung then took out his Blue S2 and started to take photos of the items in front of him. As soon as he took it, the phone announced the items out loud. Microphone. Desk. Chair. People stared in shock. Woosung took photos of people's faces as well. The phone announced its interpretation of the facial expressions. Confusion. Happiness. Joy. People started to understand what was happening. Woosung stopped taking photos and explained, we were able to achieve 99.999% accuracy with the image recognition test. The next step is the game of Go. The game of this century will take place soon in Seoul. People applauded. Incheon International Airport. The reporters waited outside but the bodyguards blocked them. The reporters protested. Oh come on. Could you move a little? Please stay outside the designated line. But we can't see very well from here. Nearby were Jang Guangchul and Hong Soo-bum. Jang Guangchul commented, so many reporters. He is the national hero now. I guess. Aren't you jealous? You sold most of your coconut shares to Woosung a long time ago. You must only have 5% now. Didn't you do the same, Subum? But I only had little, to begin with. Besides, I am happy with what I have. Jiang Guangchul rubbed his chin. He felt bitter. Who knew it would be listed at a higher price than Facebook? But you still made $5 billion. It's true. It's the most I have made in my life. So you are indebted to Woosung. What? And you also have KND stocks. You know it's all thanks to our CEO. Jiang Guangchul replied brusquely, hey, don't you know how hard I have been working? Day and night. I deserve it. Suddenly, Hong Su-bum yelled, he's coming. Jiang Guangchul opened his arms and ran to Woosung. President Kang. He hugged Woosung tightly and it was captured live on TV. Woosung got into the car with Jiang Guangchul. People will now think we are a couple. We are even closer than a couple. Hong Su-bum, who was listening to the conversation, grinned. Guangchul, you were saying something completely different a while ago. Jiang Guangchul denied, hey, that was different. I love Woosung. Do you know how much I missed him? Woosung smiled. Were you waiting because I got coconut listed in Nasdaq? Well, partly, but I missed you too. Alright. President Kang, you're very popular. Do you see the reporters following us from behind? Yeah. They've been following me since I left America. Coconut is worth over $100 billion. It could really be bigger than Daeyong Electronics now. We need to get on with the big event as soon as possible. If we carry that out successfully, we will be on top of the world. Jiang Guangchul murmured in disappointment, I've been wondering what you were doing with those genius developers. Why didn't you tell me about the AI project? I needed to keep it a secret. You know the security problems we've been having. I know. I have to be somewhere, so I'll get off soon and change to another car. Attorney Lee. Yes. He still hasn't approved the fourth mobile carrier selection process yet, so I need to stay close to him. I feel like it won't happen, but if you insist. I also need him for the Yongsan project anyway. If these two ventures work out, it will be the government that needs me from then on, not the other way around. I will be the biggest company that can change the employment rate of the country. Jiang Guangchul nodded. Hong Su-bum asked Woosung, why do you work so hard, President? This is my job. This is what I do. Woosung headed towards the place where he arranged to meet Lee Sung-hyun. Lee Sung-hyun said to Woosung, congratulations on coconut listing. Now, you are an international businessman. Thank you. It's all thanks to you. Lee Sung-hyun knew it was empty flattery, but he still smiled. Now I feel like I can't treat you like a friend anymore. You are such a big star now. China's Let Chat, America's Coconut, and KND, you own so many huge businesses, I feel strange being around you. We've known each other for a while now, so please be comfortable. Well, if you say so, Lee Sung-hyun sat comfortably and drank his tea. He slowly said to Woosung, I prepared a gift for you. Woosung knew what he would say. The news of the fourth mobile carrier selection process will be announced by the end of this month. Just as you requested, everything is to be done fairly. Woosung bowed lightly. Thank you. You're welcome. By the way, will you incorporate new technology into this mobile carrier business just like you did for Coconut? If so, things will move along faster and easier for you. Have you heard of 4G? Lee Sung-hyun nodded. That's the next generation communication technology, right? Yes, and my company managed to develop it so it can be used by the public. Xfeed will immediately provide 4G service as soon as it opens. But to make it work, you will need extensive network equipment. Do you already have it ready? We are at the last stage of testing in Silicon Valley. It will be provided by KND. So you have been preparing for it for a while. Of course, and even if I didn't do the mobile carrier, I could always sell the technology and equipment to other companies. Lee Sung-hyun almost felt overwhelmed by Woosung. Just how far ahead was he preparing for? Lee Sung-hyun realized he needed to be careful around Woosung. He nodded and replied, "Good. I wasn't sure, but it sounds like you have everything under control." "I am ready." "Thank you." No. I should be thanking you." Woosung returned to the office and read over the reports prepared for him. Jang Guangchul and Hong Soo-bum went over the big decisions that were made while Woosung was gone. Everything seemed to be in good order. Jang Guangchul asked Woosung, "So what did Attorney Lee say?" "They will announce the fourth mobile carrier selection soon. Finally, people will hear the name X-Feed. Please let the people in Silicon Valley know to get prepared. As soon as our company gets selected, we will start the service right away in Korea. At the same time, we will release Blue S3, which will have LTE capability." Got it. After this, we will be almost there. We would have over 200,000 employees. The government won't be able to touch us. Besides, if anything happens, I can fix everything with my money. Did you make more money recently in America? Woosung nodded lightly. Phew, I can't even imagine how much money you're talking about. You'll be responsible for X-Feed. I will be busy hiring people for Yongsan project. Who will take care of Coconut Bank? I found someone for it. She should be here soon. Just then, Julia walked into the office. She was dressed conservatively, but she still looked sexy. Jang Guangchul stammered, That lady?" Woosung nodded. Julia approached Jang Guangchul and shook his hand. Both Jang Guangchul and Hong Soo-bum looked nervous around her. Julia opened her laptop and started the PPT. "As you know, our boss insists on hard work from us, so I will get right to it. Coconut Bank's future." It was the title of the PPT. Julia explained, "There are 35 slides in total, but I will just show you the gist of it." Jang Guangchul and Hong Soo-bum looked surprised while Woosung watched with interest. The reason people use PayPal is for convenience, but convenience could also mean a sloppy system. Currently, PayPal uses FDS system for security. Coconut Bank is also doing the same thing. This is how hacking is prevented. Julia looked at Woosung, who nodded for her to continue, "So before coming here, I hired a couple of talented hackers. There are quite a number of them who graduated from MIT. It cost a lot of money, but oh well." Suddenly, Hong Soo-bum's phone rang. "Sir, it's an emergency. A large amount of unknown traffics are happening in the bank and pay systems." Hong Soo-bum turned to Julia. Julia was still looking at Woosung while she continued, "Google gives bonuses to the developers who succeed in hacking its own system. We should follow the same practice. This will show that we are confident in our own system." Woosung nodded. He was still smiling. "If we prove that we can easily fight back the best hackers in the world, it will show the customers how secure our system is." Hong Soo-bum listened to his phone and said to Woosung hurriedly, "Sir, the hackers are about to get into our system. We may have to shut it down temporarily." Woosung replied calmly, "We can't let that happen. Go and stop it." Hong Soo-bum left quickly. Julia grinned. "I had to spend about $1 million for this. Is this creative enough for you, President Kang?" The day was hectic for Woosung's company. Every available developer worked non-stop to protect the system from the hackers Julia hired. Hong Soo-bum reported to Woosung, "Thankfully, DDoS is being protected. Other areas seem to have calmed down for now. We are changing the password every hour and analyzing what has happened." Woosung nodded and turned to Julia. "What are the hackers saying?" "They are saying they can go further if they tried. Get them to try their best." Julia made a quick call, and the hacking attempt began again at full force, but soon, it was clear that the hackers couldn't get into the coconut system. Julia said in disappointment, "I guess you have a pretty secure system."